gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel. It's your boy back here talking about AEW Dynamite, February 26, 2025 review. My overall thoughts on the show: it was bland as shit, and the main event was good, but very predictable. It's pretty much the overall gist of AEW Dynamite. We kickstarted the show with Hangman Page having an enhancement talent fight or match. And also we go ahead and to kickstart it before we even get into the match with Hangman Page. MJF is talking about erasing the biggest mistake of his life as we see what is revealed as his AEW tattoo being removed via laser. He says the only three letters he believes in now are MJF. So apparently he don't give a flying shit about AEW. Back at the arena, Hangman Page has finally arrived after presumably missing call time. He makes a beeline for ringside as his music hits, and we are ready for our opening contest as Page heads to the ring. His opponent was actually Aaron Solo, and this was less than 5 minutes, less than 2 minutes actually. Hangman Page picks up the victory. Then Page leaves the ring for a microphone saying there are three things he hates, and the third of these applies to the man known as MJF. He also has a chair taking a seat as he says he's going to stay here until Maxwell shows up for the beating he deserves. He doesn't have to wait long before MJF arrives to the stage with a bloody towel and a mic. Talks about Page being heartless, saying he's not facing him right now and not even sure he's got a prayer at Revolution. He says he better head back home and train for the match, but remember why he came out here in the first place. He's really worried about Hangman Page's best friend, saying Page should probably check on him before talking about seeing how real MJF is. He heads to the back as the screen reveals a beaten and bloodied Christopher Daniels backstage. Page grabs his chair and leaves the ring, going on a search backstage before finding Daniels and calling for medical attention. While they tend to Daniels, Page storms off, presumably to find Friedman as we cut away. I don't believe we ever see them again for the rest of the night. So, kind of a mistake there by AEW there. We cut to the crowd where we see Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher booed relentlessly by the fans ahead of Fletcher's steel cage match against Will Ospreay at Revolution. We get a look back at Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World title against Bandino before heading backstage earlier tonight, where Chris Jericho is asked how this bounty match between Ospreay and Brian Keith came about. We quickly get an answer as Don Callis appears alongside Mark Davis, talking about Chris Jericho agreeing to send a bounty hunter after the aerial assassin to be dealt with. Jericho talks about being willing to help Callis out and how Brian Keith is now better thanks to him before Callis and Davis walks off. Back at ringside, Ospreay heads down to the ring, down to a big ovation from the crowd for our next match. We get Brian Keith versus Will Ospreay in a bounty hunter match. I would assume this is a no-holds-barred match. Barely paid attention to this. Of course, Will Ospreay walks away with the victory. And that's that. Ospreay doesn't celebrate for long as he talks up to Callis and Fletcher, who egg him on for a fight, and Fletcher meets him halfway as they go at it. Security is quick to break things up as the crowd chants, "Let them fight." Crowd was really into the show last night, I will admit that. From there, we cut to a look back at the feud between Mariah May and Toni Storm coming out of AEW Grand Slam Australia. Storm is hurt at the moment, but the two will face off for the Hollywood ending with the Women's Championship on the line at Revolution. We get a heads up on our next match before pay-per-view video package hypes Revolution to take us to an ad break. Momo Wannabe, a big win at Wrestle Dynasty, has led to her challenging for the TBS Women's Championship at Revolution. Backstage, Mercedes Moné tells Oceanside to say hello to their CEO, wondering where Momo is as Billy Starks appears with a cup of coffee. No, wait, it's water, as we find out when Mercedes knocks the cup out of her hand for making fun of the champion. Starks introduced herself before telling Monet to watch her back, as we see Momo standing behind the champ with a baseball bat. She and Starks run Mercedes off before having a laugh as we cut back to ringside, where the youngest men alive head down to the ring for our next match. The Outrunners arrive as we get a look at the recent involvement in the community before Brian Cage and Lance Archer head to the ring to get the match underway. So we get the Outrunners versus Murder Machines, and this is actually to crown the number one contender to face for the tag team titles, and the Outrunners actually pick up the victory here. So they actually will be facing them at Revolution, I believe. I might be incorrect about that. And I don't know why. And I think the tag team division in AEW is absolute trash. So after the match is over, Hurt Syndicate have arrived on the stage watching as the Outrunners celebrate a major win before we cut to a video package hyping Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley for the world title at Revolution. So we go to ringside. Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana make their way down to a good ovation from the Oceanside crowd. Strickland talks about this big Swerve's house, about this being Swerve's house, and how he's done this since he first signed with AEW 3 years ago. It seems fitting where we're wrapping up Black History Month, because Swerve says he made Black History by winning the world title. He's interrupted by more whose house chants before talking about how he showcased the title right up through the biggest event of the last year, All In from Wembley Stadium. He says, to make no mistake about it, he is still the man around here. He is still the best wrestler here, and to prove that, he needs some gold around his waist. But first, he has some business to deal with. Ricochet took something from him, and Swerve insists that they're not done until he says they're done. Out comes Ricochet wearing the embassy robe as he runs down Strickland as best as he can amidst the boos. He says he beat Strickland, and winners don't chase losers. He gets into sports team mode, bringing up the Padres and Chargers before saying he's chasing gold, something Strickland won't do anytime soon. He reveals his Philly Eagles cap to further rile the crowd up, and saying thanks but no thanks to facing Strickland. Banana reveals that he talked to Tony Khan and he's in agreement that fans deserve a rematch. Ricochet scrubs it off at the idea until Nana also reveals that the winner of that match also gets a number one contender shot for the AEW World title. This intrigues Ricochet, but he says they're not doing this here. They're doing it at the real California City. And so the match will go down at Revolution. I like the booking of that match, and I think Swerve should win that match. But if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet that match. I'd just kick back and enjoy that match. Because that match could go any which way they want. That's a flip of the coin, in my opinion. So Ricochet's music hits as he walks off, but Nana still has some business to attend to at Strickland. He says he wants Swerve to be the man he's said he is, the most dangerous man there is. But after all the bullets he's taken for Swerve, he needs Strickland to beat Ricochet and get him back that robe for the sake of his legacy. Or else he's not sure he can be here for him much longer. With that, he leaves the ring as Strickland looks slightly taken back. That definitely gives you an indication probably Swerve is winning that match. Possibly, I would say. We cut to the parking lot where Paige is asked about MJF, who appears to have left the building after what he did to Daniels. Paige says when he finds Max, if he doesn't run the man over, Friedman will wish he had. With that, he heads out as we cut back to ringside. The Undisputed Kingdom head to the ring for the next match, followed by FTR and Daniel Garcia before we get things underway. So there's a 6-man tag team match, and Adam Cole actually picks up the victory for his team on Daniel Garcia, I believe. Yeah, it's actually Daniel Garcia. And he gets the win on Daniel Garcia. And he's actually confirmed that Cole will be able to face Garcia for the TNT title on Collision this coming Saturday. I might be interested in watching that one. I'd like to see Cole win the TNT title. I think he brings some prestige to that belt, even though there's not any to it. So with the match over, we see the 6 men starting to shake hands, but things break down very quickly as we get a graphic confirming Cole's facing Garcia for the TNT Championship at Collision. The Undisputed Kingdom leave the ring after the confrontation as we go backstage, where Claudio Castagnoli gets blindsided by Adam Copeland. Copeland brings Claudio through the crowd toward ringside, only to be attacked by Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. They bring Copeland to the ring as Claudio gets an ounce of revenge in the form of repeated chair shots to the back of the Rated R Superstar. Yuta starts to set Cope's head up on the chair before Claudio tells him to grab another one, looking to lay him out with a concerto. But Jay White makes his way out for the save. This ends up being more of a distraction than anything else, and Copeland gets hit to his feet and attacks Claudio and Yuta with a chair. Shafir jumps onto Copeland for a sleeper hold, but is knocked down to the mat as Wheeler Yuta goes for the Psycho knee, but instead of hitting Copeland, he hits Marina Shafir. He looks at her in shock as Jay has a laugh about this before dropping Yuta with a Blade Runner. And Cope focuses on Claudio and Shafir as Yuta retreats to the crowd with an assist from Moxley, who's forced to watch Copeland consider taking out Claudio and Shafir with a concerto. Before we find out if Shafir faces such a fate from the former TNT champion, however, we see Willow Nightingale come out to the ring and get revenge by delivering concerto on Marina Shafir. Copeland music hits as he stands tall in the corner before we go back to a commercial break. So when we get back, we actually head back to ringside where Harley Cameron heads down the ramp to a good reaction for our next match, which is Deonna Purrazzo versus Harley Cameron. Deonna Purrazzo losing to Harley Cameron, I think, is absolute travesty. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Deonna Purrazzo. She's definitely a name that should have been utilized and used properly, and she is not. I'm very dissatisfied with the decision, what they've been doing with her. They haven't done nothing with her at all, which is pretty sad. Alright, so backstage we see Pac, Willow, and Jay making sure Claudio and Shafir are sent away in an ambulance. Pac? What the hell? Some sort of mistake there. I would say that's Adam Copeland. Yeah, we see Adam Copeland, Willow, and Jay making sure Claudio and Shafir are sent away in the ambulance with a smirk on their faces before we head back to ringside for our main event. We get Takeshita defending the International Championship against Orange Cassidy. The winner of this match actually was to move on to face Kenny Omega at the Revolution pay-per-view, and of course Takeshita retains his title, but in a very entertaining matchup that gives you the slight idea that they may actually swap hands or swap the title with Orange Cassidy, but that was not the case. Takeshita gets the victory, walks away victorious, and is still the international champion, only to have to defend the title a week and a few days later, which to me makes absolutely no fucking sense in its own right. I think Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy should have been the ones facing each other, and then the winner would face Takeshita for the international championship. Not that that would make much of a difference, because we all knew that Kenny Omega wouldn't lose to Orange Cassidy. We know that Kenny Omega wouldn't lose to Orange Cassidy, and we know that Takeshita wasn't going to lose that title to Orange Cassidy either. So either way, there was no point in even booking this match to take place with Orange Cassidy being in the middle of all this. To me, it made no sense, but it was an exciting matchup. I will give them that. But overall, the show was a whatever. It was just there. It wasn't insulting to your intelligence. It wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't. There's nothing really about it that made me go, ooh, wow, this is awesome type of shit. So, just my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button. And again, leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.